Hey TPT sellers, if you haven't noticed, right now on TPT, when you purchase an item, it now suggests frequently purchased together resources. Today is Sunday, August 25th, 2024, and when I add a product to cart, it now suggests frequently purchased together items. And the question is, what are these frequently purchased together items? How does the system generate this list? And what does this tell us about the way that TPT works? This video is for TPT hamsters and TPT hawks. If you don't know what I mean by those terms, check out the free TPT business course up there. I think when we become TPT sellers on that hamster content creation wheel, and we're churning out content, wondering if there's a better way to do things, or if we're a TPT hawk and we start to get a higher level view of our business and recognize it's not just product creation, but it's also customer service, it's also sales and marketing, it's also business operations, finances, legal issues, accounting, all sorts of fun things. When you have that hawk's eye view of the land and you recognize that there's more than just creating content, I think for both of those stages, TPT hamsters and TPT hawks, I think it's important that we learn our craft. Or another way to say that is learn the sport or learn your art form, or in our case, learn about the e-commerce platform that you're selling on. So in this video, we're going to do a deep dive into that frequently bought together section. We're going to look for clues from the code, and then we'll look into the developer manual that Team TPT uses for their search engine. And finally, I'm giving away a TPT gift card to find out what you think. My name is Mike Fichigami. I'm the host of the SEO Entrepreneur YouTube community. If you're new to the channel and you like a technical analysis and conversations about things that we don't really talk about in TPT land, then hit the subscribe button so you get more content like this. So what clues can we get from the code? This is a screenshot. If I open up the developer panel in Google Chrome, and if I monitor the network activity to see how the website is communicating with different parts of the internet, I can find when the website communicates to figure out which resources are frequently bought together. And the name of this query is not Algolia, it's actually GraphQL. GraphQL is an extra data layer that communicates with multiple different software pieces. So it could be connecting with Algolia, we don't know for sure. It could be connecting to TPT, and maybe their servers have come up with a way other than Algolia to figure out which products are sold together. Or it could be some other platform that GraphQL is connecting with to find out products that are frequently purchased together. So frequently purchased together might not be powered by Algolia. But then the question is, could it be done with Algolia? Chances are if they've invested in Algolia, they're going to be using it with as many things as possible. And you'll see in a few minutes that Algolia views search and recommended products as really two sides of the same coin. So let's dive into the developer manual. For the past 2 months, every Sunday, I've been putting out a new episode with a deep dive into the developer manual that Team TPT is using. TPT uses a company called Algolia to power their search engine, and Algolia does have a section about frequently bought together resources. It's called Algolia Recommend, and it lets you display recommendations on your website. And the goal of this feature in Algolia is to encourage users to expand their search and browse more broadly. Frequently bought together recommends items that are likely to be often bought together. To find such items, Algolia Recommend looks at conversion events, which are events towards a goal. For example, a purchase. But you'll see later on in this video, there are other kinds of events, not just purchase. 2 or more items are considered bought together if the same user performs conversions with these items on the same day. So it doesn't mean that literally the person has put your product and product Y into the shopping cart at the same time. It could be that they bought your product in the morning and they bought product Y in the afternoon, and these would be considered frequently purchased together. But we have to dive into what it means by conversion events, because an example of a conversion event is a purchase, but there are other kinds of events. The artificial intelligence model, the machine learning model, the model learns from these examples to suggest items that are likely to go well together, which will include historical co-purchases, so products that were actually purchased in the past, as well as new potential ones. We don't know if the frequently purchased together section on TPT is powered by Algolia. We're just looking to see if it's possible to do this with Algolia. The developer manual for Algolia tells us that there are two settings for this frequently bought together section. There's a relaxed setting and a strict setting. The two variants of the frequently bought together model, relaxed and strict, both recommend items that go well together. If it's set on relaxed, then it suggests items that might go well together. If it's set on strict, then it only suggests items that have been purchased in the past on the same day. So the question is, which one is TPT using? If they are using Algolia, do they have frequently bought together set on relaxed or strict? The relaxed setting recommends items that are likely to be bought together. In the strict setting, it uses the historical purchases to recommend only items that were bought together in the past. If the same user buys 2 or more items on the same day, they are considered as being bought together. So what are the events that are used by this machine learning in Algolia recommend? There are 8 different events. The first 4 deal with your product after it shows up in a search. The last 4 just deal with your product even if it didn't show up after a search. So this could be someone going to your product directly. Here are the events used to train the Algolia recommend model. If you click on the resource after it shows up in a search listing, if you do some action that TPT has defined as a conversion event. So this could be after you land on the product page from a search. I suspect that the conversion events are add to wish list, product preview, and then we have add to cart, and then we have purchase the TPT product after it shows up in a search event. If I scroll down, the next 4 events are exactly the same, except they happen if you go directly to the product page. Actually, I don't know how a click product page would work. Oh, maybe from your TPT store page. So if they go to your TPT store page and then they click on your product, that would count probably as a clicked object ID. And then a converted object ID would be if they go to your TPT product page, maybe from your email list, and they add to wish list or they preview your product preview PDF or the video. That's probably a convert object ID. Add to cart object is if they go to your product page and add it to cart. And then finally, purchase the object is if they, of course, purchase your product. If we just think about this as 4 events, someone clicked on your product, someone viewed your product preview or add to wish list, someone added to your cart, or someone purchased your product, not all of those are what most people would say would go under the category of frequently purchased together. Because purchased together is past tense, you bought it together. Now that I've learned this is how Algolia works, it completely changes the way I look at Amazon, because I guess I was naive. Whenever Amazon suggests, oh, here's what other people bought, I just assume that that's true. Amazon is large enough to know that this is what other people have bought. But now I realize it could just be AI generated. Is calling recommended products frequently purchased together an ethical choice for a business to do? And I don't know. It comes down to trust. Is TPT building trust if it says that something was frequently purchased together, but they haven't actually been purchased together? Let me know what you think in the comments. So I kept on looking in the developer manual, and it talks about how Algolia trains this machine learning model. Machine learning is another way of saying artificial intelligence. It says, by default, the frequently bought together model uses every available and future conversion event for training. So I don't know whether clicked object IDs count as conversion events in this scenario. Algolia recommend does know when you click on objects. So although technically it's not a conversion event, it's called a click event. Because this click event is listed in the section that is used by Algolia recommend, it makes me wonder if someone clicks your product one day and then later on in the day, they click another product, does the Algolia recommend model then consider those frequently purchased together? It's not clear to me, but it's an interesting question, right? The manual goes on to say that it can sometimes be helpful to customize the events used to train the machine learning model. For instance, to prevent the model from using false positives in its training. And then it gives an example of how users interact with items in different ways. And I can relate to this because this is the way I shop. Users may add several headphones to their cart, but just buy one pair. So just because they add to cart doesn't mean that it's frequently purchased together. And that's what Algolia is saying here, that the end user, in this case, Team TPT, they can customize which events Algolia Recommend uses to do its artificial intelligence learning. The manual goes on to say, for better relevance, you should only select purchase events so that the model just looks at items that have actually been bought together instead of added to cart or other conversion events you might have. So when I read this, I think, okay, another conversion event could be look at the preview. Does that mean that the TPT platform, if they're using Algolia, and we don't know for sure if they are, but if they're using Algolia and it's set on the relax setting, does it mean if you look at the product preview for my resource, and later that day you look at the product preview for another resource, then if you add my resource to cart, is the machine learning then going to suggest, well, you both looked at previews, so I'm going to say these are frequently purchased together. Is that how it works? I'm not sure. What do you think? Another cool thing I discovered in the developer manual is that Algolia recalculates the frequently bought together database once per day. So once Team TPT figures out which events they want to look at for the frequently purchased together section, then Algolia Recommend does its first training. And then after this initial training, the models are retrained once per day, and this can't be changed. And by updating this recommend database, it means that the recommendations stay up to date. And as buying patterns change or products go viral, then they get suggested more, and then that snowball just increases. The training process can start at any moment in the day. That means that in the experiment I'm going to describe, your results might be different from my results because the Algolia Recommend database has been updated or the training rules have changed. Again, this is based on the question of whether Team TPT is using Algolia Recommend to power their frequently purchased together list. So if this is powered by Algolia, do you think the frequently purchased together list are AI-generated recommendations or actual purchases? Is TPT using the relax setting or the strict setting to train the AI? On the Algolia blog, it gives an example of how to use Algolia Recommend, and it specifically says you can use it on the Add to Cart page. Once the user adds a product to their cart, an opportunity for upsell opens up. AI-generated recommendations can help you offer the right products to match the items that your user has already shown intent to purchase. Now, the Algolia Recommend database is exactly like any other Algolia database. So the 8 criteria, tie-breaking rules that we talked about in other episodes, that also applies to the Algolia Recommend database. You can set rules to boost or to push down certain products or certain categories. And it looks like on the back end, whenever the website asks for, hey, what products should I recommend with this product? It looks like each product has a recommendation that has a confidence score ranging from 0 to 100. And the higher the score is, the more relevant the recommendation is to the product. And that's how artificial intelligence works. It's basically just probability. How likely is this answer going with that question that's being asked? All right, experiment time. Remember, the goal of all of this is just to learn a little bit more about the e-commerce platform that we sell on. If we have a better idea of how things work, then 1, it helps us to optimize our products. And 2, from a social emotional learning perspective, it means that life doesn't happen to us. We have control over our life. We have control over our actions. We can try to figure out the way that this game is played. It's just like learning any other sport or learning an art form or becoming a comedian and learning your craft. The better we understand the game, the better we can perform. So here's an experiment for you to try. First, go into incognito mode. You don't have to go into incognito mode, but you have to log out of TPT. And most of us don't want to log out of TPT. It's extra work, or sometimes when you sign back in, TPT asks you to verify with that code thing. But if you go into incognito mode, you won't be signed into your account, and that's what we want. Basically, go to TPT and not be signed in. And then go find your product. It could be any of your products. You know your products best. And click Add to Cart and see what happens. The first question is, did you get the frequently purchased together screen where it suggests some possible resources that are frequently purchased together? For a while, TPT was doing A/B testing. Sometimes I saw it, sometimes I didn't. But now, today, I'm seeing it pretty consistently. So that's the first question. Do you even see this feature? And then the second question is, do you think those 3 resources are based on AI suggestions, so relax mode, or is it strictly based on actual purchase history, so strict mode? And you could do a very simple experiment. If you go look up one of your products that you know has never been purchased, do you get 3 resources being suggested as frequently purchased together with this resource? Or maybe what they're thinking is, these are frequently purchased together, not necessarily with the resource that you added to cart, but these 3 resources are related to the resource that you put into the cart, and these resources are bought together. It could mean that. Who knows? But here's the gem of an idea in this video. If we look at those 3 product recommendations, it gives us a clue into what our ideal customer avatar is shopping for. Here's what I mean. I've added my TPT Seller Ultimate Bundle to the cart a few times today, and it's always suggesting these 3 resources in this specific order. And that makes sense to me because I know now that the Algolia Recommend database is updated once a day. So this order won't change until tomorrow, if it changes at all. But what I see here are that people are looking for clip art. People are looking for fonts for teachers, which is interesting because that looks like it's an educational program to help. I don't know if TPT sellers would buy that. I wonder if that's just people looking for fonts and then they click on that. So I guess TPT sellers look for fonts. And then the last one is the really, really big alphabet beginning sounds clip art bundle. But this sort of implies that there are more elementary teachers who are getting the ultimate bundle as opposed to secondary. And yes, I know that makes sense because there's probably more elementary teacher sellers on TPT than middle school and high school. But I've also noticed that in the various SEOtpreneur communities, there's a wide range of TPT sellers from around the world. I hadn't really thought of my audience as being an elementary teacher audience, but I guess they are. If you look at your 3 resources that are listed under frequently purchased together, are there any clues about your ideal customer avatar in how they interact with TPT? So yes, it's possible that this list doesn't recommend actual purchased resources. But we know from the events used by Algolia Recommend that these are products that the teacher buyer looked at the previews for or added to cart or maybe clicked because they were curious. So there's some pattern there. And I don't know, I wonder if it gives us a clue about what other products teachers are interested in when they look at our products. I'm giving away a $10 TPT gift card. If you go to facebook.com/group/TPT SEO, you'll find our SEOtpreneur group. And there's a poll there. Someone has already voted, but basically just vote whether you think it's AI generated recommendations or if you think only actual products are included in that purchase together section. And then at the end of the month, I'll look at the names of people who voted, randomly select one, and that person will win a $10 TPT gift card. Terms and conditions apply. Check out the Facebook post. Last week, I talked about a $10 TPT gift card for the person who could find the lowest popularity score for a TPT keyword. Congratulations to Tim. If you want to see their response, check out the Facebook post. Don't forget, this is your last chance to try to win a $100 TPT gift card. That's on the Facebook group as well. That contest also ends at the end of August. I think last time I checked, there's only 12 people who entered, which means your odds of winning that gift card are great. Of course, terms and conditions apply. Check out the Facebook post. Have you learned something new? If you have, can you watch more YouTube videos? So I'm able to give away TPT gift cards to you because of the ad revenue generated on this channel, which basically means the more you watch, the more I can give away, which means we get more people, which means the community grows, which means we have more ideas and questions that come up, which means I can create more videos, which means you can watch more, which means the community grows more, which means there's more ad revenue, which means there's more contests and ways to build community. And then the virtuous cycle just builds, and the end goal is to help us on our TPT journeys towards personal financial freedom, but also personal growth. Selling on TPT is hard. There are so many distractions. It's hard not to take it personally when things don't go well. It's really an endurance test, and it's an opportunity for us to learn about how we deal with obstacles. And pretty much everything in TPT is another opportunity to deal better with change. I love selling on TPT, and I love helping TPT sellers. So if you've learned something new today, please watch another video. It helps the channel to grow, and we can have a little bit of fun along the way. Have a fantastic week. See you next time. Bye-bye now.